When people speak to me and ask me about it, it goes back really to the previous year when I felt we were a little disappointing. 10 wins we had in that year, but the chairman, Kevin Nicholas, really cheered me up when he pointed out the number of losses that we'd had by under 12 points and also the number that we'd had by within one score. So we knew really that the Indians were all right, but perhaps the Chiefs needed looking at, i.e., the people who ran the team on the field of play. So, with that in mind, and Sheffield also at that time, they were going full time. It meant that people like Don Barney and that Patch Walker and Jimmy Davey became available. And they were the chiefs to marshal our Indians. And we recruited them along with people like Chris Alugia and Dave Scott. So I thought we got a pretty good team to start with. And I was pretty confident that we'd end up looking at the very worst, a top six finish.
I don't know, it's a bit of a tricky one that, because the year before we had the Dare to Dream and that didn't really materialise. To be fair, we ended up in a bit of a relegation struggle, which to be fair I don't think with the squad we had we should have been in. But in 2016 we signed a couple of good players like Dom, Patch, Jimmy Davey, a few others. So I don't know, it was just a bit of a mixed bag. Me personally, realistically, I thought we'd get maybe 5th or 6th. But obviously, as the year went on, we just kept improving this time, believing.
Going into that season, I think even in pre-season we knew that we had a really good side, and even when we were training, we could tell that as a team we were really cohesive. So I think running into even pre-season, if we were consistent executing the season well, we knew we would finish and surprise a lot of people.
I signed for Batley at the end of the 2015 season. I knew I was coming to a great club. There were already some quality players on board for the 2016 season, and the personnel that we brought in, your likes of Patch Walker and Jimmy Davey, were only going to add to that quality. So my expectations were really high. I'd tasted top 4 with Sheffield in the 2015 season, and I wanted that again. I always remember looking round in the changing rooms about 2 to 3 weeks into pre-season and just thinking to myself, we've got some real quality in this changing room. We had some great characters, and I knew then that we were going to do something special.
Before coming to Batley, I saw the players that the club had signed, and in particular there was 3 lads from Sheffield, being Dom, Patch and Jimmy, that signed at the club, and I think the club really made a statement there of their intent for that year, and then add that on to what Batley already had with the pack that they had going forwards, and given the league at that time, I think only had maybe 3 full-time teams in it and the rest being part-time. I think there was a bit of a buzz around Batley, so I don't think it was unrealistic to expect us to be challenging for the top 4 that season.
Probably after the first game against Lee, when they said, oh yeah, that they were going to get beat and they were going to have this super team, we'll beat them at home. I think it might have been something like 22-20. Obviously the conditions were bad, but we ground out a win. It was an highlight for me that, and I knew from then on there we were going to be destined to do something good. You know, I didn't really expect the highlights that we'd reach that year, but I knew we were going to be there or thereabouts.
And all our focus was on the start of the season. We knew the start was very difficult, especially game 1, Lee, where Derek Bowman did my team talk for me by saying that they'd go all season undefeated. Well, that was great for us. It was like a red rag to our fellas Bulls. It really was, and they were really ready to play that first game. And I remember Kevin Nicholas spoke about it was the first £1 million game in the Championship, because Lee had £1 million and we didn't. And I think we loved that underdog situation. When we set off, we went 22-12 down, and we still managed to stay strong, hang in there and claw it back and win. Then we lost by just 2 points to Featherstone. We bet Sheffield, who were then full-time as well. We bet them, and we bet Halifax. And within the first 6 weeks, we'd also drawn with Bradford. So 3 full-time teams out of the 4 in there. And so I was really confident at that point that our expectations could go from the top 6 to the top 4. and thankfully the players, their ability was repaying the faith that I was showing in them.
This is an easy one for me. It were beating Lee, first league game of the season. That's the point I thought, right, we're going to do something this year. I just thought the attitude and the desire to win were there, and it was a massive scalp for us. There were loads of talk building up to that season about Lee going unbeaten all year, not losing a game. To take a scalp like that against a full-time team, it was just massive for us, and it got us off to a great start. And it's definitely up there with one of the best wins I've had in my career.
There was always a good feeling in pre-season. There was always a good buzz around training, like we were going to achieve something special. And especially after that first game against Lee, I think we beat them 24-22, first game of the season against all the odds, and that kind of sent the jungle drums around the rest of the Championship League, and I think people knew that we meant business that year. And then for me, probably that first run of 4 or 5 games, I think we came away with 4 wins out of 5 against Lee. We got beat by Featherstone, Sheffield and Halifax and Workington. At that point, you know, with a run of games so early in the season against the quality of the sides that we're beating, I think we all knew that something special was going to happen that year.
For me, actually, it was Rochdale at home, which is a strange one, I know, but I think we were about 24 points down with about 15 minutes to go coming down the hill, and after winning that game on the hooter, I think it just give the team full confidence to just that literally no game was won or finished until the 80th minute, and in that season we won a lot of close games.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but I think the league game for me, that stands out more than any. You know, no one gives us a chance. Lee were going to walk the league and never get beaten. It were horrible. It was raining, it was cold, it was windy. And they've got all these superstars coming, and we knew we had them. We knew for a fact JK, Linners and Moko all drilled it into us that we had them that day. You know, to JK's team talk where all he got on about was ambush. Just ambush them, that's what we did. And especially when some Lee lads were, you know, giving a bit of banter on Facebook like we had no chance. And then we beat them. It was absolutely brilliant.
There's a bunch of games that kind of stand out for me, but the one that I'm going to pick is actually the London game, which was the week before Swinton. The reason for that, I remember playing Featherstone the week prior to London, and the disappointment in everyone's face and the awful feeling in the changing rooms after that, because we'd kind of used this get out of jail free card, I suppose, and we knew that we had to beat London, and just the feeling in the changing room before we went out and the buzz and the focus and everything like that, I think it was probably the best team performance that we had that season, and given the quality that London had in the side that day, I don't think anyone would have expected us to beat them, and just the manner in which we did it was really professional, and I think just kind of summed up our season, to be honest with you.
There were lots of standout games for me in 2016, but the one that stood out for me personally was the London game at home, which was the one before the Swinton game. There was just a great buzz around the place leading up to that game, and the way that we performed against a good full-time London outfit I thought were fantastic, and I thought we sent a message out that day with that win to a lot of people and a lot of teams, that we were actually good enough to be where we were, and it was no fluke that we'd got there, and we deserved to be in the position that we were in.
When we came to the Swinton game, which was obviously, it was a cup final basically, but I felt when we played London the week before, I was so confident we could nail it. And I'd had my doubts the week before that because we'd played Featherstone, we looked as if we couldn't cope with the pressure, and that was one of the biggest defeats we got all season. But we were then playing London, and there were Jamie Soward making his second debut for the Broncos. They'd been in good form, they were in the top 4. And I honestly felt we could nail that game. We could really finish this in the top 4, which was a dream for us and our club at that time. And we did, 31 points to 20, despite Jamie Soward and despite London having a point to prove, having been walloped by Sheffield the week before. Well, that was an easy one. One, because it was a cup final, a one-off, and we knew we'd achieved all our goals should we win it. But the other one, we'd lost at home, to Swinton, 32-24 earlier in the season. And in fact, in the first 20 minutes, we're 18-0 down. So it was pretty easy to mark the players' cards and say, we win, we're third place, we draw, we're fourth place, we lose, which is feasible because we'd lost them early in the season, we're out of it. And all that work's gone.
I can't really remember too much about the build-up of the week, but from what I do remember, it was pretty relaxed, it was pretty focused, and yeah, we knew that we had a job in hand to do, and we knew what the game meant to get into the top four and have a crack at Super League and everything like that. But from memory, everything was pretty relaxed, and we just tried not to let the occasion get the better of us, and just took the build-up nice and steady, and just went through the process of training throughout the week and just prepared as normal.
There were a whole buzz around the club where, everyone was buzzing, the staff, the players, the fans, everyone was up for it because I think we overachieved for what people thought that we could have done, but, we believed in ourselves, and I know we didn't win any cups or we didn't win no leagues or all like that, but at the end of the day, we was a bunch of part-time players that on paper shouldn't have been where we were being, but it was only through hard work that we got there. So there were a massive, massive buzz about the place.
The build-up to the Swinton game were just like any other, really. Obviously, there were a lot more up for grabs with this game, but Jake had a brilliant way of building us up through the week, in training, in video sessions. So come game day and kick-off, we were firing and ready to go. We never really looked further forward than the game that we were playing that week. We just took it game by game. And JK always had a plan for us, as he would say, and if we carried that plan out to a T, then 9 times out of 10 we'd come away with a win.
From what I can remember, it was literally just any other game. That's what you had to tell yourself anyway. Obviously it wasn't, but it was just a normal morning. Obviously got up, got your breakfast and went to play, and we were really confident. Like I said, we knew, I think we'd won the last 2 games, that we needed to win our last 3 to get into the top 4, so it was just any other game really.
Again, I can't really remember too much about JK's message before kick-off, but what I can say about JK is that he definitely knew how to read a changing room. So, for example, before we played Lee, the first game of the season, whenever we played, kind of big teams, he was able to read the dressing room and know how to motivate us. But again, Swinton, I don't think he had to motivate us in any way, shape or form. I think, the prize was there dangling in front of us and we didn't need anything like that. So he was really good at reading the dressing room and just being really calm, cool, collected, and just reminding us of everyone's individual job of what we had to do so that the team could perform and get a result.
I can't actually remember what was said in that team talk that day, but I can honestly say that I don't think I once came out of the changing rooms that season before kick-off without the hairs standing up on the back of my neck. JK certainly knew how to get you fired up before a game.
It was literally just building us with confidence. It was obvious what we'd done that season, how hard we'd worked and how successful we'd been, so it was just more of the same, please, fellas.
JK's message before kick-off. Anyone that's been under JK knows a massive motivator, and he went on about making history, and I'm not on about the history of rugby league because we haven't won no Challenge Cup or we haven't won no league or cup or like I've said before, but anyway. Come on, fellas! You can make history, yeah?
And at half time was a matter really of saying, well done, fellas, and let's follow people like Wayne Retty, who made a great effort in that first half, I believe, when he chased a kick and forced a goal line drop out. Those were the efforts we needed to continue with. And actually Brad Day, who very rarely said anything to anybody, he piped up at half time and reminded everybody that Swinton had been 20 points down at the Summer Bash and they'd come back to win that. So it was good to know that everybody was zoned in and ready to do that. And the final instruction was just forget about the school book, forget about the clock, play for each other and keep working hard. And they did.
It was literally just building us with confidence. It was obvious what we'd done that season, how hard we'd worked and how successful we'd been. So it was just more of the same, please, fellas.
Obviously, we came in at half time and we had a good lead against Swinton, but the job was far from done, and we knew what we had to go out and do to achieve for that second half. And JK's message was pretty simple. It was, just keep doing what you're doing. It's working. It was calm, cool, collected, and he just reinforced that to us, to be honest with you.
You know what? It's actually difficult to describe how you feel after a success like that. It's what you play rugby for, I guess. It's your mates that you've worked hard with, and just to get that feeling of ecstasy at the end, it's awesome. And then the song at the end, shout at the fans. I suppose it's what battle is about. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was a special moment for me. A feeling very similar to winning a grand final, really. The fact that we were massive underdogs throughout the season and the way we went about our business made it extra special for me, finishing in that top four. And it was probably the best playing season of my career, if I'm being honest, performance-wise and enjoyment-wise. We had a very special group. We had a tight-knit group. We had a great coach, great coaching staff, great backroom staff, and basically everybody involved in the club were just fantastic that season. And then just a special mention to the fans as well that day. You genuinely were the extra man for us. And I remember coming out to do my warm-up before the kick-off and just thinking, wow, what an atmosphere.
I think more relief than anything. It'd been a big build-up of weeks, to be honest with you. There was maybe 6 or 7 weeks we had some tough opposition to play, we had some close encounters, and just to finally get the job finished and secure a place in the top four, massive relief. And what an amazing feeling. And you've asked me kind of describe it, and no, I can't. It was one of those where all the lads are together, the fans, they're singing the winning song with us. It was unbelievable, and it's just a really great memory. And I guess it's one of those for me and the lads it'll last the rest of our lives, and we're fortunate that we're able to do that.
The feeling at the end of the game was probably one of the highlights of my career. And I've not been in pro games so long, but I've done quite a bit of amateur. But without a shadow of a doubt, that was the highlight of my career. We played with all my best mates, and we had such a close bond, and the coaching staff and the whole club. I've got the love for the whole club. It's, for me, that was a pinnacle of my career, and I don't think it'll ever be topped.
And obviously the end of the game, it was fantastic. I enjoyed the latter part of the game. We could sit back and look around and drink it all in, and it was just pandemonium. The fans were going berserk, and there was an element of joy. But the best thing was the satisfaction that a special group of people, the players were fantastic, the coaching staff were, Kevin and Iro and all the board of directors were, and it was just the satisfaction of achieving something so special for such a great club. So a great day was the Swinton day, but the season was a fantastic season.